Hi there, I am James Potherlingham, and this is a recap of the projects I have worked on over this past industrial placement year. This has been a difficult and confusing year for all people, not just us placement students. And with ever-changing global situations due to things like Brexit and COVID-19, things have been stressful. However, I choose to look at it as all of us having had the opportunity to experience an extremely unique scenario, and we can all learn a great deal from it. For an overview, I have worked on 3 projects of note, all of which have had different time spans. Firstly, I worked with Oakland Farms in York for 3 months. Then, I worked on improving my Adobe skills intensively for 1 month. And finally, I have worked at Vitsu for more than 5 months and will continue working here for another 4. Across these 3 projects, I have learned skills, techniques, and knowledge that I would likely not have discovered otherwise. Oakland Farms is a family-run business which is one of the largest suppliers of poultry to supermarkets like Sainsbury's in the UK. They recently invested in some green land which they have been using for commercial spruce tree farming. To properly use this land, they need a quick rotation of saplings for systematic use and rest of the land. To create this fast cycle, they very cleverly used their old egg incubators. These large walking machines with finely tuned temperature and humidity controls created the perfect space for seedlings to gestate in the ideal conditions for speedy growth. The way they had been running the system was using compressed seed packets, and those coincidentally were the same size as the trays in the incubators. Thus, this method was extremely convenient. However, the drawback is that these seed packets, for mass use, are pricey at 5 pence a piece. So I was brought in to help make this system more cost effective and plan for the next stages of the seedling's growth. My initial research helped me to discover a range of information like how trees are currently farmed and produced, to assistive early life measures to reduce risk of failure later on, even some basic botany like how spruce trees need seasonal change when they are seeds to grow properly. Starting with a warm and moist soil for the end of summer, then placed into colder environments to simulate autumn and winter. This natural clock allows the tree to sprout at the most opportune moment in the year, and so we need to simulate it indoors as well. With the start of the UK re-entering lockdowns, my work was done largely remotely, which was not an issue. However, as many people have likely experienced, the delays in communication due to being remote can be draining at times. We progressed nonetheless. With ideation and research, we planned out the next stages on how we might implement them after the first successful run-through. With everything laid out, we arranged a 2-day trip for me to come to York and work in-house to make 2 test pieces. I sourced the materials and they found a good workspace and tools. Once I got there, everything went smoothly. I was able to fabricate and prep the pieces so they could then go on through the incubators for a full cycle and see how they held up. The final plan, if these tests succeeded, was for me to go back and mass manufacture these pieces ready for the next stage. However, due to Tier 4, this had to be changed into schematics instead. Here ended my 3 months with Oakland Farms. I would have returned to the project to continue the next stages, however due to different opportunities I left it there. But this is something that I might return to, as they were running tests to see if they could do this process with mushrooms, tobacco and even truffles, so proper implementation could bring forth very prosperous and interesting business developments. While I was working part-time with Oakland Farms, I also began a self-driven project, which was the improvement of my Adobe Suite skills. I reached out to Josephine Choi, a fellow placement student who is very experienced and talented with the Adobe Suite and currently working in a graphics role. I asked if she would be willing to set me simple briefs across Illustrator, InDesign and Photoshop to show me new methods and techniques of working. She kindly accepted and proceeded to work with me to create a set of weekly tasks over the space of a month with time constraints and additional goals, and a weekly review of my work with constructive criticisms and tips. Josephine would send me examples to copy, take inspiration from, or edit into my own style. From there, she would add more tasks, like color testing and playing with the palette, or trying new techniques and methods, like layers, transparency, distort, and others. trying styles that I would likely use in the future, like invitation posters or magazine spreads. These projects were both challenging and fun, as it taught me a great deal, but also made me experiment and push myself. The project opened my eyes up to the possibilities within the Adobe softwares that I had not previously considered, and I feel has greatly prepared me for the coming final year. The final project of my placement was with Vitsu. I began working with them in early December and will continue working with them until the end of August. I will preface this segment by saying, due to unfortunate timing, all of my design work with Vitsu will be happening after the creation of this video. However, I will be working with the design team for the rest of my placement and hope to learn a great deal. Vitsu is an interesting furniture company. They have made the same 3 pieces of furniture for 60 years and nothing more. They have only ever changed these designs with minor developments. By staying true to Dieter Rams, he was one of the founding members of the company, and his principle, as little design as possible, they have an extremely well-rounded, high-quality, yet simple set of designs that continue to sell well today. Vitsu has been a part of my life for longer than any other furniture piece. Their shelves have been in my family home for longer than I have, and have been a key part of my interest in design. They have been able to stand up to all the abuse that 3 young children can throw at them, and have never failed. The way I ended up working with Vitsu was rather fortunate. I applied to them in April last year, but this was when many companies started furloughing all of their employees, so they simply could not take me on. However, I contacted them again in November, and by then they had reopened and needed hands in desperately, so a cheap student hand was ideal for them. We agreed on a timing for me to work with the design team while I was there, that also fit in the time they needed to get operations back up to full speed. Before I joined the design team at Vitsu, I am working with the shipments team. This means that I was helping getting stock, materials and other items in the door and worldwide shipments out of the door. Because we managed the coming and going of goods, it also meant that we oversaw managing the space within the building, which required careful consideration for the rate at which certain pieces are used, who needs access to them, and how easily they are accessed. This means I spent a lot of time conversing with the heads and members of other teams to find their opinions and preferences, which in turn led me to learn a lot about their parts of the business, from assembly to logistics, all the way to spending lunch with the CEO in the communal lunch space, learning how he works to keep getting the Vitsu name out across the globe, and how being a large business in a small town severely affects local politics as well. Working with pallet trucks, running around the building, making sure everything is running smoothly, while also making sure all teams are well equipped and not waiting on anything to reach them, greatly improved my situational awareness in scenarios with high workload. It also helped me to prioritize tasks far more efficiently and sensibly. These improved skills are just a few that you can gain working on the floor of a multinational and forward-thinking design company. COVID has been a horrible scenario for the whole world. However, because of it, there's been a surprising increase in sales. This is believed to be due to people not going out and saving money, but also being stuck at home. So they see what's wrong with their house and then seek to change it, and see safe and reliable furniture from Vitsu. All this handling of matters that come after a design process really have taught me a great deal. From the details and requirements for shipping, to the foresight and preparation for changes from suppliers as well. I believe I've learned a huge amount about the internal workings of a design company without ever actually being within a design role. And that is a summary of my placement year this far. I'm excited to continue learning and developing in the meantime. Thank you and goodbye.